Hello and welcome to their First Impressions video brought to you by MMO Play. Today we're taking a look at an upcoming MMO called Albion Online. This is going to be a sandbox crafting style MMO with hardcore elements. That is, if you die, your corpse is lootable and you'll lose all items. You do have a certain timer to get back before people grab all your stuff. But you also have to deal with the fact that if you die, you'll take a lot of durability damage on your equipment, and if your stuff breaks before you repair it, it's gone. It becomes junk. Game is currently in alpha. The only way to get in right now is either through a random invite or through a founder's pack, which is available from the developers. Right now I'm just going through character creation. This is going to be a cross-platform game available on tablets and PC. It's intended to be played on anything that is equivalent to an iPad 2 or newer. So chances are, if you're playing on a PC, you're good to go. The minimum requirements, according to the developers, there are none. According to anything else, I mean, iPad 2, it's pretty old. It seems to run very, very well. So, the perspective of the game. It is a third-person isometric MMO RPG with lots of gathering, crafting, sandbox elements. There's going to be guild versus guild combat, which I'm unable to look at right now, but I will eventually look at in general. Another thing is, it is a classless game. There are no classes in the game. You actually get your abilities by crafting different items and equipping different gear. Your armor and your weapons will be what actually gives you your abilities, and then obviously also increases your stats. This is the tutorial here. I'm going to go through it briefly. After that, I actually do want to show some of the Tier 2 gameplay. The game is split into tiers, where this is basically Tier 0 going into Tier 1. So I can just go ahead and gather this stuff with no tools or anything involved at all. Eventually, I can go ahead and craft these beginning swords, beginning armor, beginning tools. They will give me different abilities. All this stone equipment will eventually lead to iron, steel, and then etc. You unlock higher tiers beyond steel by completing certain objectives. You hear those loud do-do-do. That's me finishing an achievement. I will go look at the Destiny board in a little bit, which is basically the achievements. And this Destiny board is what allows me to craft new stuff. So you can see right now I got Beginning Hunter, because I've been, I'm going through gaining fame, I'm killing stuff, I'm gathering stuff. It allows me to get better crafting recipes. So right now I'm just going through the beginning. You can see you're going to get a lot of these real quick, but eventually it does slow down. And you can see I've gained fame for that. Now I can go ahead and craft some items. So leather. I don't want to just craft it, you give it your ability. So I can either give it some extra restore or some extra damage. Let's be aggressive. I'm going to give it some damage. And then I give a passive ability, either attack speed or movement speed. Alright, I want attack speed. So now when I'm wearing this armor, it'll have passive attack speed, and I'll have that cooldown ability. So as long as that's equipped, that'll happen. I cannot get the sword yet, so we're going to go through. Get some more rocks, get some more wood. Eventually, I will start gathering equipment which requires gear to grab. If I want iron, I need a pickaxe. I can't just go ahead and pick up an iron slab out of the ground, take it back to the smelter, and be good to go. I actually do need to hammer it. But much like Minecraft, you can go and you can punch trees and stuff. You don't need equipment yet. Also, the axe you get does allow you to chop faster at the very least. So let's see, do I have enough now? I can craft my sword? Yes, I can. So, my sword, I can give it, let's see, I can get dash for some charge, some damage, and some defenses. Let's see, I'll give myself some, that. I'm going to be all offensive here, so let's see, I can, oh look, more attack speed. Maybe give myself one defensive ability. And this is just one kind of set. This is the sword, shield, and the leather armor. There's heavy metal armor. There are ranged weapons like bows. There's stabs, books. I'm actually about to go and switch and show you what a cloth staff wearer will look like. Alright. Now I am playing as a cloth caster with a staff. You can see my abilities towards right. I have hotkeys with the PC client. So Q is a firebolt, which does single target, lots of damage. I have a dot, which is the W. Two different heals. One of them's a hot, one of them's an instant heal. And then I also have a shield, a damage shield, which will protect me, cut my damage in half, and then hit them for that damage. And then I also have a charge, which lets me just kind of run away for a few seconds. All these abilities do cost energy, the blue bar, you know, your mana. Thankfully, my staff gives me 10 energy to my melee with. I do just a normal attack. So I can go ahead and do lots of extra attacking to cast lots of spells. Basically, I can just keep casting forever. These are AI enemies. There is player versus player combat if you die. Again, you drop your stuff, take lots of durability damage, and if you don't get back to your stuff before timer runs out, people can loot you. And, ooh, right here, I got a journeyman bag. So what's this do? This increases my weight capacity so I can carry more. Weight is a real big consideration in this game. You end up getting bogged down pretty easily. When you're out gathering resources, you will end up getting just encumbered so fast. So that bag will help. There's also, I can get a pack mule, which you can ride, and he holds a ton for me. But, man, he also moves pretty slow. Some of the higher end crafting, I am going to need things like these marks, which will allow me to craft the top tier of items. And then also I need silver to be able to craft items too. The first 2 tiers, I don't have to worry about that. This is tier 2 I'm wearing right now. Next thing I have to get is tier 3. So now that I have tier 2 equipment, I can go to a zone by looking at my map and seeing what resources are available, and then go to a zone that has those resources and pick them up. So for cloth, I want to go find tier 3 cotton style resources. If I were playing with Metal Gear, I would need steel, which is tier 3 metal. If I wanted to play with leather, I would need to go kill some tier 3 animals. You know, foxes are tier 2, those bunnies I was murdering earlier were tier 1. Combat seems pretty easy, but at the same time it's also pretty interesting. My biggest complaint is you have to switch from your weapons to your crafting items to be able to gather, and then there's no hotkey for that. But if there's a hotkey to switch from your gathering to your weapons, and if you switch gear, it puts all your abilities on cooldown, even your armor abilities. If I switch from a pick to a staff, I will have all of my armor abilities on cooldown too, so I can't heal myself, can't put my damage shield, and I can't dash. Part of that is it's for the PvP, so people don't item swap, and it simplifies combat, makes it easier, but it also does make so if you're running away while gathering and you hit the wrong key, because there is a hotkey to switch between gathering and crafting, or gathering and combat, you'll be on cooldown, you can't heal, can't sprint, you'll die. And then you die, your items might break, or at the very least, you'll end up having, ooh, someone killed an enemy nearby. I already have one of these, but I can just kind of hold on to it. Maybe I can find someone that wants it later. Another thing is, there is player housing in the game, and there's a lot of guild events. There's guild versus guild PvP. I have not been participating in that in the beta yet, but it is something to look for later. Ooh, there's gems. Another thing is, if you equip any gathering item, it'll equip the appropriate one when you're gathering. So I could have equipped my pickaxe, and it would have actually, when I went to go get the gems, it would have got my gem hammer. I don't need to get my gem hammer on me. The only time it really matters is going between gathering versus weapons. One last thing I want to look at is the Destiny board, which is what unlocks new recipe. So this looks intimidating. It looks like Path of Exile's passive tree. But really all it is the achievements in-game. When you hear that do-do-do sound, that's me fulfilling an achievement. And what it'll do is it'll advance me on this Destiny board, which will allow me to craft higher-end items. So if I want to craft these items, I have to fulfill the requirements of every tier before it and the requirements of the tier. So I don't have to actually go and search for recipes. I just have to do things to gain fame doing certain things. So if I want to be a mage, I'm going to have to go ahead and wear mage-type gear, gather mage-type equipment, kill enemies wearing mage items, that kind of thing. If I want to be a fighter, same deal, except for with heavy armor and weapons. So the classless system really works well. The game is going to be available cross-platform. Again, it's intended for iPad 2, so if you have a newer tablet or if you have a PC, you should be fine. Currently in the alpha, you have to get a Founders Pack if you want it now, but it should be free to play later. If you like the content, stay tuned more for MMO Play. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go get myself a wand.